am so excited. We are in the second season here and kicking off the season with one of my favorite people in the whole entire world, Michael Losier. Michael is a four-time Oprah Winfrey guest, only person who's been on Oprah four times. And he also was on the Oprah, he had his own show on the Oprah network on her radio show. What was the name of that, Michael?
That was Oprah and Friends on XM Radio.
Yes, yeah, and he had a show on Oprah Network, and then he is the author of The Law of Attraction. Actually, many law of books, Law of Connection, Law of Attraction, and you can find his books on Amazon and anywhere that you buy books, in your normal places. But one thing that Michael has sort of kept a secret, although the secret is out, is the incredible work that he does as an emotion code practitioner. And I actually say to Michael that he is a magician because he gets to issues that people have that is so quick and resolves those issues so quickly. For me, it's magic and it's a miracle. I went to 3 years of healing school and I've been a Reiki practitioner for 20 years. But what Michael does is beyond, what I do. It's a different way than the way I work, and I find it fascinating.
Thank you.
So we're going to talk about that today and talk about, what Michael does and give even a little demonstration. Now, if you want to know more about Michael and his story, you want to go back to season 1 and listen to the interview that Michael and I did back in season 1, because he really gives you the scoop, the skinny on who he is, how he became the incredible person that he is. And you don't want to miss that because it's really a fascinating story. And so, Michael, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here again. It's really an honor and pleasure to be with you here.
Thank you. I'm excited. I think you remember, I remember about that. You know what I remember about that interview? It was the most vulnerable that I was in any interview. I don't know if we had that conversation, but that I remember that. I thought, oh, that was pretty raw and honest. And not that I'm not honest, but, just vulnerable. So I'm glad to be here today under a different capacity. And it's my unique ability to uncover and delete old negative emotions, the ones we tucked away or we buried the feelings. Well, they didn't get tucked or buried very far at all. Or how about those feelings that we had where we got humiliated or embarrassed and we didn't tell anybody? So now it becomes an old, unprocessed emotion. It's still with us. And it keeps popping its head up over, and it's like a pimple. When you bust the pimple, you think it's gone. It comes back like 2 weeks later, the exact same one. Well, these emotions, every time, for example, somebody might feel an emotion, it is the same baseball-sized emotion that is activating itself. It's trying to get out, and that's why we're feeling it. It could be the trigger of anger or jealousy or guilt or shame or blame. There's 60 of them on the chart just for starters. So I
Just for
delete them. Yeah, well, I say that because there's another chart of 90 on the other side.
Wow.
That's how many words we use to describe negative emotions.
Wow. And we all have them. I mean, no matter, we all have them. No matter how you could have had the best childhood, the best lifetime, but we all create these negative emotions because we're human. It's
we
natural.
had experiences and we didn't cry. If we have a negative experience and we don't cry or tell anybody or get ticked off or break dishes, you know what? That unprocessed emotion gets stored. And then another one gets stored. So people that don't process feelings, and people say, what does that mean? You know what it means? Get angry, get ticked off, break dishes, say, I hate when that happens. And you know what? You'll process that emotion already.
Right. It's funny. A funny, really quick story. In healer school, first year of healer school, one of the things that we had to do was beat up a massage table with a tennis racket, and to get those emotions out, right?
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
Yeah, process. So we had all these exercises in the 3 years to get those emotions out. But even with that, I mean, this was an intense 3 year healer school. Even with that, I find I still have emotions that are, buried underneath. And, we've worked together on quite a bit on some of those in different areas. And I'm just fascinated by your work and how you do it.
Thank you. Well, there's a reason why that happens. Everything is event specific. So you
Ah,
might say, you know what, when I first got out of school, I was 21 and I got a job and I got fired and I was so embarrassed. So I could go back to that event almost like a rewind and say to your subconscious mind, what are all the trapped emotion feelings that I still have about that event that are kind of bubbling up inside? And we delete them, but there could have been more events at another event. So it's not like you swipe it once, they're all event specific.
mhm,
And people say, well, where do you get started? So I work on problems and symptoms. You would say,
mhm.
okay, here's my problem. I get really ticked off easily, or, I procrastinate too much, or I'm ticking everybody off, or I'm so indecisiveness. And I said, oh, I can work with that. And it's caused by some of these emotions that I identify, and I delete it with a magnet on your behalf. So it's,
It's incredible. We've known each other now for I think almost 2 years, and it still blows my mind that what you do with the chart and the magnet, and then next thing you go, no, oh, that emotion is resolved. It's released. It's whether it has to do with pain or food or so forth. I mean, we did a food item sweetbread, which I'm Portuguese. We grew up on sweetbread. Everybody made sweetbread in the family, and that was a big deal. You had sweetbread in the morning. You had Sunday mornings. You had it French toast. You had sweetbread
at all ages. Yeah.
at all ages, and it'll be 2 years in April since you released the emotion attached to the sweetbread, and I've had sweetbread twice in almost 2 years, and not because I can't have it, but I don't have the
Yeah.
fanaticism about it where I have to have it. And I mean, I ate it like I'd eat half a loaf in half an hour, and I
Yes.
mean, we're talking a big loaf.
Oh yeah. Well, I have two programs. One to get rid of sugar. So I'm on day. When people go back and look at the other video, this is not the same face. So
No,
I'm
it's not.
I'm I'm 215 days of zero sugar. That means white sugar. That means anything that's made with it, on it, in it, beside it, or through any of the process, that I'll have zero triggers, cravings, interest, desires, or consumption. And I'm on day 214, and my answer is zero. Are you
Yeah,
kidding
that's
me? So
yeah,
I have that program. Then I have a bread and pasta program, and it means white wheat. So it could be chickpea flour is good, but it's just white wheat flour and white wheat pasta. And I've got about 125 people, both of these programs, and they're like that. They're not even missing not having it because that's what people's fear is. They're going to get ticked off and thinking, "Oh, I'm having to have willpower." There's no willpower at all. There's no interest to want to have them.
right, 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 right.
Yeah.
Wow, it's incredible. And I know, we did sugar, and I can't say I'm 100% sugar free. However, my sugar consumption is probably down to 10% of what it was.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
yeah, and I mean, I look at the labels now. I bought a peanut butter. I looked at the label. It's incredible how much peanut butter has sugar in it.
yeah.
And we have all this added sugar we don't even realize until something like this happens, and then you start looking at labels,
Well,
and it's
things
funny.
taste off. Like I had, I dipped some unconsciously. I dipped a chicken piece into plum sauce, thinking it was plum. No, as soon as I put it in my mouth, I said, "Oh, this is so fake!" Like the taste was such a turn off. And you read the
Yeah,
back of it. There's no plums in it. There's not even plum in it.
it's
Yeah.
amazing what they trick us with food, isn't
Yes.
it?
Yes.
It is.
Now,
It
some
really
of
is.
those things, the things that we're talking about right now, I get it. I could be influencing people. But when I am correcting people's chronic pain, for example, this morning in Clubhouse at 8 a.m. Pacific, Clubhouse is an app, an audio app. I worked with 7 people under 3 minutes each, one at a time. Most of them that I worked with today, their pain level, they've had for years between 8 and 10 on the 10 scale, and I
Mm-hmm.
got everybody down to 0. Listen, I was even surprised myself. I was thinking, are you kidding me? And then I got the next one. Her hips were an 8, and another woman, her hips were a 7. And I got everybody down to 0. And they stayed on the line. And then I checked in with them, and they were just blown away. So let me explain. So, you know how sometimes, Cynthia, we say that I carry stress on my shoulders, or you hear people that common expression?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're kind of close. It is an emotion, but stress is not on the chart. So when we say, people didn't know it's literal, when they say, I carry stress in my shoulder, it is an emotion, but it's not called stress. It might be one of these. Say, for example, anxiety. You having, but what does that even mean? Well, you see, the anxiety is the size of a baseball. All these emotions. So when I say there's something in my shoulders or I can't move my neck,
Uh-huh.
imagine if there was two energetic baseball-sized emotions, just pretend, tucked under the skin. It's like, I can't move my neck. I got two baseballs under my skin. So when
Oh,
and that's what's causing the discomfort. These unprocessed emotions are stopping the flexibility to be able to do this and this.
that's a really great explanation. And as soon as you said I've got two baseballs, my mind goes, oh, that's very uncomfortable.
Yes, and no wonder it hurts. No wonder I can't lift up my leg, right? No wonder my
Right.
jaw's out of alignment. So my
Right.
job is my unique ability. I'm able to connect. We're going to walk through an example with Cynthia. I'm able to connect with somebody. Remember the days of AOL? You'd go, well, I'm going to do that. And I have a little protocol where I'm connecting to Cynthia. Now, you know the very famous expression that says we're all connected?
Yes.
I hope not.
As well, yeah.
I hope not. I don't want to connect with everybody and anything, but
Yeah.
I'm I'm connectable. Now there's two words buried within the word connectable. What's one of them?
Connected.
And the other one is able. So
Yes.
connectable means I'm able to connect. So I'm connectable. I'm not connected to Cynthia or the whole world, but I'm able to connect to. That means I'm connectable. Now, just like it was your computer, I'd go to your house. Oh, Cynthia, I see you got Wi-Fi. I'm connectable, but it doesn't mean I'm connected. What gets me connected? Your password. So
Right.
when I'm working with you and I'm connectable, because I couldn't connect with everybody, my neighbors, people on the street, my family, people like my friends. I can't connect with them, but why? Because I need their password. And I'm going to
Right.
show you what the password is. Oh, where'd
And
it go?
we don't have to even know or remember this password, which is wonderful because I'm the
Well,
queen of forgetting passwords.
yes, you don't have to remember. You know what the password is? Is your permission.
Right.
When you
So
give me your permission, matter of fact, if you're paying me, thanks, that's your permission. When you volunteered on Clubhouse, 7 people, they
yes,
said, I'm giving you permission to connect with me. They don't even have to use the word. It's implied if you
yes,
paid me or you're volunteering like you are today or on
yes,
Clubhouse. So that's the permission. Now, the
yeah.
key word that I want to introduce our friends to today is the word proxy.
Okay.
And proxy means I do it on your behalf. We're used to it around voting and going to board meetings. Hey, would you be my proxy? In other words, would you vote on my behalf? So what am I doing? On Cynthia's behalf or my client's behalf, I become their proxy and I
Mhm.
do it for them. Well, what does do it for them means? It means I'm going to identify the emotion using muscle testing.
Ah,
So muscle testing is yes or no. It's all I can ask is yes or no. I'm going to show you a yes answer. See these fingers? They lock. That's a yes. No. Am I Michael Losier? See how it won't slip? Am I Cynthia? No.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when I get connected with Cynthia, then I'm not guessing and I don't have any whispers in my ear. Your brain is telling my brain, telling my fingers when I'm going down the list. I'll say, is it this one? No. Is it this one? No. And then when your brain knows it, say, that's it right there. Just
Right,
like if you said, Michael, would you go into my computer and delete a file folder? There's a bug in it. I would have to say, well, we got to find it first, right?
right.
So just like the emotion, we're going to find it first. And because I'm connected to Cynthia, imagine it's like a little computer line. I don't want to take on this emotion that I'm pulling from her. And the magnet, this is a household magnet. Here's a
Uh-huh.
little jewelry piece of magnet, or it could be, a fridge magnet on the back of that. So my point is any kind of magnet. I'm going
Uh-huh.
to do this. Imagine there's a telephone or line there, connection, and I'm going to swipe it. That means just like if it was a computer file and I used a magnet, remember the old days, I could delete it.
Right, 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 right.
So
Yeah.
I'm also going to, because Cynthia's subconscious mind is brilliant and knows everything, I'm going to ask it to take me to this 6-panel chart.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all the things on the chart. And for each item, there's like 200 little words around it. And your brain is going to tell me exactly where to go on this chart and tell me exactly where the problem is. I think you said your left hip.
Yeah, my left hip. In fact, it's hard to. My daughter has a truck. It's a little truck, but her wheel the well of the door is high up,
Yeah.
so I have to like grab my leg and put it up over the thing to get into the truck
Mama
because
needs
my
Mama
hip
needs a
is
hoist.
mommy is always and I mean I can go slide. It's not the seats aren't high, but it's got this well that you have to get my leg over to
Yeah,
get into it.
that's your hip. Okay, let's do it, Cynthia. So I'm going to narrate through the process. And for those of you, again, I'm using that chart behind me. I have a magnet and muscle testing. That's a yes. Am I Michael Losier? Am I Cynthia? So right now I have my little protocol. It's my little connection speech in my head. I'm just scanning for Cynthia. It's a reconnection. She's with me right now. I'm just connect right there. Am I Michael Losier? Am I Cynthia Smith? No. Am I
Uh,
this Cynthia? Yes. Okay. So that's a yes. Am I Michael Losier? I'm Cynthia. Okay. So and now because I'm Cynthia's proxy, this is her asking the question. I was telling Michael in and around the left hip, getting in and out of the truck, and how hard that is, and all the daily inflexibility in the left hip. And if 0 is an ideal hip, everything about it, temperature,
mhm,
texture, movement, strength, 0 on the dial, we're
mhm,
going to go to the right hip because we know it's better. How
mhm.
far away is the right hip from being? Is it over 10% away? No. Is it under 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4? Okay. You probably can't feel it because the left hip is higher, right? So I'm going
Right.
to write that down. So Cynthia, through my muscle testing, all yes or no questions, her brain's telling my brain that her right hip is 4% from being ideal. Is the left hip under 4%? Is it over 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 20, over 20, over 21, under 21, 21? Does that feel consistent?
Yeah, I'm surprised it's that low.
Yeah, okay, it's 21. So good. So first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to do an alignment. That means your hips are probably, they're probably out of alignment. Why? Because there's some baseball sized emotions that are doing this. So
Hmm.
right now, it's sometimes people are like this and they say, oh no, I never sit up straight. It's because the emotion. So my first question is, so are my left hip and my right hip, are they in alignment with each other? They're not. So how many baseball-sized emotions are causing my hips to be crooked or teeter-tottery? Over 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, over 10, under 10, 10. Same row. Is it row? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So I found them all in this row right here. And just
Hmm.
like a file folder, I need to know them by name. And and I have the magnet. So I'm deleting the first one. I'm deleting this energy of anxiety, deleting despair, deleting disgust, deleting nervousness, deleting worry, deleting failure, deleting helplessness, deleting hopelessness, deleting lack of control, deleting low self esteem. Now are my left hip and my right hip in alignment? They are. Were they? No. And are my spine and my hips in alignment? No. 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1A, 1, 2, 1, 2. Is it mine? Despair. Okay, I call that like the cross, they're here. So left hip and right hip are in alignment. My spine and my hip are in alignment. Yes. So Now I want to use the chart. There's 6 panels. I have them all numbered at the top. Tell me
Mhm.
which tell me which panel to go to get to the source. Is it panel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? It's panel 5. Okay. Okay. Is it this? No. Is it no? Tell me which panel. Is it panel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? No. Is it 5, 6? Okay. Is it this? It's the vertebrae. So it's taking me right here, right? So now I'm going to scan to find out where it would be on that chart. So uh, on this
Interesting.
on this model, is it on the left side or the right side? Yes. Is it above? Is it above this or below this? Is it this? Okay. I need a magnifying glass to read it because it's so tiny.
It did look pretty tiny, Michael.
It's called the transverse process. So do I have some imbalances around the transverse process? Yes. It seems higher than your hips, but I do what I'm told. Is it 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1A, 1, 2, 1, 2? I'm deleting this despair. Okay. Do I have some nervous system disruption? That would like to be a garden hose with a kink in it. So out of all the nervous going to all the vertebrae. So do I have some nervous system disruption causing this problem? Yes. How many trapped emotions causing the nervous system disruption? Is it over 5, 10, 15, 5, 10, over 10, under 10, 10? Is it in one full row? Is it row 1, 2? Is it all row 2? Yes. Anxiety, despair, disgust, nervousness, and worry. Failure, helplessness, hopelessness, lack of control, low self-esteem. Now, is there any disruption to the nervous system in this area? No. Is there any more trapped emotions in and around this area? No. Now, before today, how far away was my left hip from being ideal? Was it over 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 25, 24, 23, 22, 23? What did I say?
20,
21.
yeah.
Yeah, so 22, 22, 21. And now is it over 21, under 21? Yes. Is it under 20, 15, 10, 9, 8, 5, 4, 3? Is it under 3? Is it under 2? Is it under 1, over 1, 1? A, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Is it A, 3, 3? Okay, just kind of move around there, Cynthia. Tell me anything else in your left hip.
Um, so I can feel that my hips have leveled off.
Oh, great.
The left hip was much higher, and there's no pain.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, I've been suffering with this for almost a year, to the point where I could not walk more than 200 feet. I go to the chiropractor once a week.
yeah. The culprit was the nervous system, right? So, and that just means the little nerve endings going to everything, and they got
Mhm.
all tied.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Wow.
I'll do some post support and I'll stay connected and find out how you're doing for that. But
Wow.
there you go. I'm sure that was under 2 or 3 minutes work.
Wow. Boy, I didn't look at the clock, but it was quick. It was
Yeah.
quick. Now, like I said, I've been dealing with this for almost a year, to the point where for several months I could not walk more than 200 feet. I couldn't go to the grocery store. And it's gotten a little better, but it's taken almost a whole year of going to the chiropractor every week.
Yes.
And
I wish I could show a model with this baseball-sized emotion pressed up against the hip.
yeah.
A quick story. I'm on before COVID. I'm in vacation in Palm Springs, and I went to a coffee shop and I brought my laptop and I had a couple clients. So I'm doing work, but I'm kind of hiding behind the laptop a little bit, being a little discreet.
Uh-huh.
So a guy was watching me because men watch men in Palm Springs, right? So people were watching me, and this guy comes over and he says, I'm too nosy not to ask. What are you doing?" And
Uh-huh.
I said, "Oh, I'm deleting negative energy from people and I'm helping them with their physical pain." And I said, "Oh," and he said, "Well, maybe there's a reason why we're supposed to meet." I said, "Well," he said, "Well, I have one leg longer than the other, so I limp a little bit.
Uh-huh.
You know me, Cynthia. I wasn't going to let that slide.
No. You
So,
love a challenge.
oh, please, I was such a show off, Cynthia. You have no idea. So I said, go get your coffee. So he came back and sat with me. And so imagine, so here's your hips. This one has baseball sized emotions pumped up against it. Now what happens?
Yeah.
It can't go in place because of the emotions. So in a coffee shop in Palm Springs, I fixed this guy's legs that he said one was shorter than the other. And
Yeah.
he's freaking out now inside the restaurant, going to everybody. Did you even see that? Are you been kidding me? And he was just totally bewildered. It was so fun. And I never heard from him again. It was just a big whirlwind inside some coffee shop, and he left non-limping.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. 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 That's right. You're a magician. you you know it's nothing short of a miracle, honestly, because I've worked with thousands of people over the years, like I said, having gone to healer school, being a Reiki master for so many years. But if you don't get to that emotion, you can be like me and the chiropractor for a year and still, the pain is still there. On the pain Now, the pain when we started today was probably around a 7. I don't know if you noticed, but I was sort of leaning to the right.
right.
Now I could feel the left hip was pushed up. Now they're even, and honestly, I have no pain in that left hip.
Thank you. Now,
Yeah.
now your homework will be to trust yourself getting up and down because you still have the little trigger that says, oh, be careful. So when you do that and just a little mantra, just say, no,
Yeah.
this is going to be safe and easy instead of the anticipation it's going to hurt, talk yourself through the success of it. And then you'll eventually change your mind that it's hurting because you'll trust yourself that it's not. Because I've helped people and they still limp. I said, you don't have to limp anymore.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because we tend to go back to sort of like the set point, mentally.
Yeah.
And after I fell and shattered and broke my leg, my son's father tells me daily, be careful. And I finally said to him the other day, please stop saying that. Every
Yeah.
time you say it, it takes me back to the instant when I broke my leg.
Yeah.
And so it's a great thing for people to know. And thank you for that reminder.
Yeah. Or we
Yeah.
teach people to have a good flight. I can't do much about that. It is, yeah. Well,
Right, right.
I did some great work. My history before when you met me on Clubhouse, I probably wasn't the emotion code guy because I was really the law of attraction guy for about a year on Clubhouse, and this stuff was tucked away. And then
Yeah.
I worked with a guy that was helping me with the design a website or something and a web page around my 5-week law of attraction course. And he was so puzzled about the emotion code part. And he says, oh, dude, this is so confusing. And so him and I met, and I said, so I ended up having a session with them and blew him away. And he's the guy that told me, I have 5 or 6 moments in my life, and this was a significant one. And he said this, you definitely need to lead with your uniqueness.
Yes.
And I never forgot that. And I thought, lead with, and because it was always tucked behind. So now my next step, I'm writing the script to do a video on my website that talks about this. And it's only going to be 3 or 4 minutes long, but just to
Mhm.
really claim my abilities and my success stories and how I'm helping people. And
Yeah. Yeah. That makes me very happy, because your work with the law of attraction is phenomenal. I know there's a lot of people out there that teach it. You are one of the OGs, the original, law of attraction, but you teach it in a different way than a lot of people do. I know we're not probably going to have time to really get into that today, but well, that'll be for another show. But you really teach the secret to it, because there is a secret. Because in the 90s, in the early 2000s, people were crazy with the law of attraction because of the secret, and but the secret left out an important component, which you
yes,
don't leave out.
yeah.
Um,
The
and
secret was very influential because it gave people permission to get excited about stuff. Well,
Yes.
it didn't give them the how to. It's like, wow, somebody's finally talking about manifesting. And so people just needed to glam onto something that was like them. And that's why
Right.
it went, because there was a big underground community that liked manifestation. Even if we didn't use the word law of attraction, I've been part of spiritual centers for years. They
Yeah.
never used the word law of attraction. But if I went back and listened to it, that's what every Sunday was every about. So when this subject came out, everybody said they resonated with this and said, well, that's what I've been happening. That's what I've been happening. And my
Right.
book was out 3 years before The Secret. A little
Right.
FYI.
Right. Right. Yes. But the combination of the two, your emotion code, you also do NLP. So the combination of the three and the law of attraction, to me, you've got this sort of magic formula that I don't know if anybody else in the world has that same magic formula, but you've got this magic formula with those three that are unique and that really can get to the core of things, right? Um, where yes, so I'm really happy that you're bringing the emotion code out now and leading with that. But the other things that you do combined with those three things are what really is your secret sauce.
Thank
Because
you.
if you can do as much law of attraction as you want, but if you've got emotions that are underlying, then you're only going to get so far.
Well, you know what? I do have on New Year's Day, I did a special event and I gave my top 6 things that I do on a daily basis. And more importantly, I gave the script away how people could delete their own procrastination. So I had the
Wow.
web app for that if I can share that. It's
Yes.
my name. It's michaellosier.com/New Year's. And it
Great. And
comes with a worksheet and a
mhm.
video, and you can learn the tools and then write the script. Because if you're procrastinating, go get a magnet from the kitchen or your desk, and I'm going to tell you exactly what to say. I even have a little video saying this is what it looks like, and
Mhm.
learn how to delete your own procrastination. You're welcome.
Oh, that's fantastic. And that's available. So I will put that in the show notes so
Oh,
people can
perfect.
go right to the show notes. They'll be able to click right on the link and go grab that. So Michael, what exciting things do you have on the table right now, or do you have coming up? What do you want to share with people? How
Well,
they can find you,
Mike's,
work with you?
thank you. My excitement's always around business things. So
Mhm.
just real quickly, I've been keeping logs. I've got 6 of these. I'm on
Wow.
first. Yeah, this is how many people I've helped on Clubhouse. 2,100 and whatever that last one.
1,100, and is that four?
12, 2,102 was the
Wow.
last person I worked with on Clubhouse.
Wow.
Uh, Lots of fun, so I love doing that. But I'm using Kajabi, as you might or not know, and Kajabi is a software for my system. And
Wow.
I've got a lot of databases. I've got my law of attraction database, my one-on-one database, my emotion code practitioner database. I've mentored 80 people that do what I do, how to build a business. So I've got lots of databases, but I never really wanted to start Facebook groups for all of those. It just felt daunting to do that. So
Mhm.
last Monday, and I thought, well, I've got like 1,000 clients, and I don't really gather them anywhere. I do a little Zoom call, and if they're not available, anyway, I did a little emotion code session. I get rid of a couple of emotions on Monday afternoon. I read an email from Kajabi that says, new in the community room. And I thought, what's that?
Oh.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. So it looks like Facebook a little bit, but here's what it is. So tomorrow, for example, I set up, it's called a room. I set up a community, and it's for my one-on-one clients. So I set it up. I put up an event in there. It's going to be like a Zoom event, but it happens in Kajabi's Zoom, so they don't
Mhm.
have to go anywhere. And
Right.
then as I'm setting up the calendar, it says, "Who's the audience?" And I said, "My one-on-one client database." I press one button, and then all of them are going to get notified when I go live tomorrow. So a
Wow.
thousand people are going to say Michael's live right now, and the title is I'm going to teach them how to delete procrastination. So that's a lot of people to
That is
to
a
be
lot of
notified. And I thought, well, don't people need to be notified a week in advance? No. I
Yeah.
do that when if I go through Clubhouse and you're in there. I thought I don't need to be notified. I'm in. I will go in right away. So that's what Kajabi's saying. When you do a live room with your
Right.
data, I also have a database of 4,000 emotion
Mhm.
code practitioners, and
Wow.
I set up a room. I added them all to the room
Yeah.
because they're on my database, and I'm going to do a training for them called "Words That Stimulate Purchases" on your website,
Oh,
your marketing materials, and in your conversations. So
wow.
that's a lot of practitioners, and I'll just go live and see what happens. I'm pretty excited.
Wow. And, that's a really great topic because, with entrepreneurs and humans, we tend to use negative language a lot of times, and we tell people not to sign up with the words that we use.
Oh, I know. Like, for example, when people say, if I just said, oh, listen, this is a wonderful process and it's excellent, that doesn't mean anything. But if I said, and this is what stimulates a purchase, I can reduce and eliminate your physical pain.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
the key word was reduce
Hmm.
or eliminate.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give people a list of about 20 words.
Hmm.
And when you use them, people say they don't care how it happens.
Right.
They don't care if they have to drink sea monkey soup or have, at this point, they don't care what's going to happen. I can eliminate, or I can delete your ceiling to how much money. It's the word delete, right? So
Hmm.
these are keywords. I'm going to be teaching that. The point is inside Kajabi, I set up the event and it says, who do you want to invite? And all
Right.
these groups have separate tags. So that's
Yeah.
my big news.
That's really exciting, because a lot of people don't really want to be on Facebook anymore.
They
And
don't.
to have your own private group on Kajabi, which gives people really a feeling of security more so
That's
than
right.
on a social media app, and it gives you more control because
And it's
and
exclusive. These are, for example, the people in the sugar, I'm doing one, I have 125 people. To get the
Mhm.
same people that have been through the same process, you know what? We don't have to talk about the beginning when I work with them. So,
Right.
and those people will come in for a tune up because most of them, a woman emailed me today. After day 100, people get an email that says, "Hey, it's been 100 days. Congratulations. How you doing?" So she said, you know what? There's only one thing that I'm having in the last 100 days, and
Mhm.
it's a can of Pepsi every day. And she said, I still need to drink it so I don't. And she went blah, blah, blah. I stopped listening. So I changed her mind about that. So with the email, I changed her belief that she had to keep drinking the Coke or Pepsi because she
Mhm.
would get a withdrawal. And then I found one emotion that's still, so she doesn't know it yet, but bye bye your one can of Pepsi a day. She doesn't even know it yet.
That's really great. That's
Yeah,
okay. And I haven't I've never been a really big soda drinker, but you said Pepsi, and the soda that I would go to would be Pepsi.
yeah,
And I haven't honestly, it's interesting because going back to the sweetbread, which was before the sugar, um, for some reason, doing that sweetbread with you, some other things just fell away.
yeah, for
Like,
sure.
yeah, some junk food. I just don't have a craving for it anymore. Doritos, my favorite. I haven't bought. I think I've bought a bag of Doritos once in the last year and a half, and that's because we were having company, a party.
Yeah,
So it's really fascinating to me the work that you do and how even working on one thing for me took care of so many other issues.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
called collapsing. In other words, the same emotion might have been responsible for two or three habits that you have, and you delete one, and then the connection isn't there for the other two problems. So that's always a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, really, really, really fascinating. So, for people who haven't worked with you, who aren't in any of your new groups coming up, excuse me,
Bless you.
thank you, excuse me. Um, how can they work with you? They can go to your website. Is that right?
Yeah, they can go to my website, and there's a menu. I call it a menu of about 100 things. It's an alphabetical order. So, some people say, "Oh, I got to, I want to talk about my back," but I like for people to bring 4 or 5 things because I'm fast. So, for
You
example, if you and I met today, what will we do with the other 22 minutes after I corrected that? So, bring a list. I do what I can. There's everything from to heartburn to puffy feet, and like it's all over the board. So it's like a little menu. Just check off what you want. Bring it to. Tell me what it is when you join me. And sessions are held over video like this or
are.
over the telephone.
Right, right. Yeah, and the one thing I didn't share also is I've lost 13 pounds since we did the sugar in
Wow.
July, and it's been no struggle, no, I don't feel like I'm missing anything, or I don't have these cravings. It's been the easiest 13 pounds I've ever lost.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm the most flexible that I've been in about 7 years, and I'm going to the gym twice a week. I'm pretty pleased with everything. Everything's
That's
kind of tipped off. This was a
that's
delight helping you and introducing me to your friend, so I appreciate that.
it's always a delight working with you, Michael. You're such a kind and generous soul on this planet who really, it really gives and gives and gives. And it's thrilling for me to have you on and to be in your world. And I hope that a lot of people will see this or hear this if they listen to it on their cell phones or in the car or wherever, and get into your world as well, because they will find that
Thank you.
miracles really do happen working with you. And I honestly mean that. It's one thing, the title of the podcast is Boldly Authentic, and I really mean authentic.
Thank you.
And so it's important to me that people really walk their talk, and you do. And
Thank
so
you.
thank you for being such a beautiful gift to the world,
Thank
and
you.
for your generosity. And if you're not on the Clubhouse app, go download the Clubhouse audio app. Everybody can get in now. You don't need an invitation to get in there. Michael is in there frequently. And so you can find him in there and find him on his website, michaellosier.com. It'll be in the show notes. And Michael, thank you again. It's
Thank you.
always such a joy being with you.
Here's to your happy hip.
Here's to my happy hip. Bye bye.